Rishi Sunak and Ngosi Falani have both given very interesting interviews about what happened in the palace and about the idea of racism. And whatever we may think about what Lady Susan Hussey said or did, whether she intended to do something, what the Prime Minister and what Ngosi have to say is valuable in itself. Listen to this.
Well, it wouldn't be right for me to comment on matters to do with the royal palace, although, as we've all seen, they've acknowledged what's happened and made an apology for it.
I think when Rishi talks about the palace giving an apology, that's a bit wide of the mark. We've not heard of the palace reaching out to Ngosi, and I think that is a mistake. But let's see. This is what Ngosi says, and she is right.
Everything has to be taken in its context. So the context is domestic abuse, raising awareness. That you have asked me a question, and I've answered it several times, in fact, and you do not stop until you get the answer that satisfies you that I really can't claim to be British, right? That's clear. You know, I have clarity. I'm not under any illusion, right? This happened, and one of my many thoughts were, this could happen to someone who's affected by domestic abuse. Trauma is in the room, right? And if I am affected like this, and I consider that I am someone who, you know, I can roll with the punches. I've been around this environment for a long time. I've seen things, but I let my guard down in a space that I thought I was safe in, because we deal with violence against women. Now, violence isn't always physical. It can be verbal. And that felt like violence to me. And when you put your hand in my hair, like, I'm not even a person. You can just do what you want and say what you want. And I don't want to be in your presence. But I have to consider too many people. And so I stayed. How many times do we stay in situations where we're clearly uncomfortable so that we don't make other people uncomfortable? That's a conversation that has to be held.
This seems to me to be a very valuable message, particularly about domestic violence, and something we should take to heart. How we got to this point, I mean, she is very articulate, and I think Farage's theory is plausible, not very kind, but then Farage isn't a very kind man, it seems, frankly. You know, qualify that as you wish.
So, I mean, as I've talked about in the past, I have experienced racism in my life, but what I'm pleased to say is that some of the things that I experienced when I was a kid and a young person, I don't think would happen today, because our country's made incredible progress in tackling racism. But the job is never done, and that's why whenever we see it, we must confront it, and it's right that we continually learn the lessons and move to a better future.